Okay guys, it's time for some more hypothetical trade talk here. It's not always going to make sense, and this one in particular is not really a rumor. It's just a random general trade idea that was proposed by TVA Sports. And in today's video, we're going to do some digging and see whether or not we think it's a good idea or a bad idea for both teams. But first, before we begin, if you're a fan of the Habs, or you're just watching this while you're sitting on the toilet, then please consider subscribing to my channel, as I upload a ton of hockey content, and would really enjoy having some more of you grasshoppers tag along for the ride. Okay, here we go. Let's see what Ivan is cooking here. Ivan Pedneau of TVA Sports recently suggested that the Montreal Canadiens and the Dallas Stars should swap some defensemen. I'm talking John Klingberg and Jeff Petrie here. Pedneau would state that John Klingberg wants to leave. He doesn't want to be a part of the Dallas Stars anymore. And yes, he's right. Klingberg has definitely made this clear. He is no longer in the good graces of management. So why not pass Jeff Petrie onto the Stars in exchange for John Klingberg? Yes, this is where the whole idea for this video came from. Ivan Pedneau is the culprit. He's the guy that lit this flaming bag of dog shit we're about to talk about. Because the more we dive into this whole trade scenario, the more it doesn't really make sense for both teams. Let's take a look at John Klingberg first. Klingberg is 5 years younger than Petrie, so he's definitely winning the scorecard on this one. John Klingberg is also in the final year of his $4.25 million contract, which means that he's about to become an unrestricted free agent after this season, making him a prime target for a cup contending team this year, unlike Montreal. Unless, they were able to get him and then flip him, which is something that I don't see as being a realistic option here. And John Klingberg is also putting up some pretty decent numbers this year. Not Norris caliber, but just really good, solid numbers. Much better than our boy Jeff Petrie, who looks like a shell of his former self right now. I mean, remember a few months back when he was Super Saiyan? Yeah, we want that back. Now let's take a closer look at Jeff Petrie. Petrie is 5 years older, like I mentioned before. His contract doesn't expire until he's going to be like 67 years old. And he's going to be making $6.25 million right up until the end of the 2024-2025 season. And Petrie's statistics this year has been bad, like really bad. To the point where John Miro looks like a superior offensive defenseman right now. But I mean, that can't keep happening. He's gonna snap out of it, right? Petrie? Jeez. So, from the perspective of the Dallas Stars, I mean, if we're talking about player for player here, one for one, they're gonna laugh their asses off at a deal like this. I'm telling you, you'd have to get those boys over there in Dallas pretty drunk to get them to consider something like this. But hey, we can't talk too much smack about Jeff Petrie though. We've got to try and preserve the little value that he still has. He's a veteran. Up until this year, he was aging like fine wine. His red eyes alone are enough to scare the shit out of anybody who wants to step out of line. His dad played baseball, right? There's that. Not sure if any of you guys have heard about that one, because they've definitely never mentioned this during a Habs broadcast before. And I'm sure Dallas fans would love hearing little backstories like this during the game. So as it stands, the Jeff Petrie for John Klingberg trade makes less sense than tits on a bull. In order for something like this to actually work, there would need to be more pieces involved. Possibly lots of pieces. And even then, I'm still not sure it really makes a whole lot of sense. Even for Montreal, consider this. The whole fuss right now with John Klingberg is basically that he feels disrespected. He's not happy with the way his contract talks have been going. He claims that he's not been appreciated by the Stars management. He talks about how the negotiations between the Stars and the other players on the team have all gone fine and dandy. Pens were put to paper. But as for himself and his own contract negotiations, it's never been fun. But keep in mind, this is from his perspective. For all we know, this guy could be batshit crazy. Sleeping with his socks on, shits in the urinal, all that kind of good stuff. And being at 29 years old, the prime of his career, after making just 4.25 million and putting up points like this, he's gonna want a very lucrative deal. Perhaps even north of what Jeff Petry's making right now. Maybe it's gonna be between the 7 to 8 million range per season. And if Montreal is planning on going through a rebuild, then personally, I just don't see a situation where Klingberg really fits in with a new long-term fat contract. No deal is what I'm thinking. God, not gonna lie though, I love it when these guys entertain trade scenarios like this. It gives us all something to talk about while we're waiting for something big to actually go down. It's kind of like a fire drill, right? It's not the real deal, but it keeps everybody on their toes. It puts your mind into overdrive. Sometimes, it even makes your eyes red. Anyway guys, that does it for this video. Let me know what you guys think about Ivan Pidnol's trade idea. Do you think it makes any sense at all, or is it complete trash? And if you've got any of your own crazy wild trade scenarios that you'd like for me to cover, let me know in the comment section. And who knows, maybe next video, it'll be about you. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.